Peace, peace.
Peace.
Here with my man Knowledge right here.
Yeah. What's good? Peace, God. Peace.
First topic of the day gonna be, you know what I mean, youth for the day.
Yeah, the youth.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, so we're gonna be talking about the youth.
Yep.
Like that. That's perfect. It's a perfect topic for the day. Perfect. That's peace.
So what's going on with it, man? What you think it is? You think it's the movies, the video games, or just that hip hop? What you think it is, son?
I think it's like a mixture of everything that you just said. Like, I think the influence on the youth today comes a lot from us. Because now, like when we were growing up, our parents was that era that we are now.
Word.
We the one responsible for the youth. Whether we have children of our own or just children that we see every day. You know, so we're responsible for the youth. And I think the thing about it is that the youth look outside of the home for role models. And I think that's the big part of what's going on with the youth.
Peace.
A role model should start in the house. That's something that should be started in the house with the parents. Unfortunately, a lot of our youth don't have both parents in the house growing up. But whoever the guardian is and the parent is in his house, and that house should set the example for that child.
Word.
And when it comes to the music, when it comes to the movies, or whatever outside things of the house come into play with the youth,
right?
That effect comes from the house, from the parents.
Right. Why is that though? Why is that? Why do you think that, yo?
Well, I think that, and I know that is because the parents are supposed to be setting the example. They're the ones that's supposed to be raising the youth and teaching them,
right?
Showing them how to do things and how to act when they're out in the world. And they're not doing that. And they're not doing that, and partly because, and a big part of it is actually because of their own shortcomings. A lot of our parents that the youth have are abusing drugs, may not have the right type of mental stability.
Yeah, can you explain that?
Basically, if you got parents that's the only thing on their mind is abusing drugs.
Okay.
Then you got the parents that are actually mentally disabled and don't have a way of setting an example for the youth, or setting an example for the children in the house, or the children even outside the house. Because the youth comes as a collective. It's not just the children in your house. Those are the ones you're most responsible for, and you held by love implemented in birth to take care of them and feed them and nurture them and clothe them and all those things. But even the children outside of the house are the ones that we're responsible for too. But if our minds aren't right, and we're not being good thinkers, and we're not setting forth that positive example for the youth, then how can the youth grow and be anything of that nature?
Right.
If anything, they're going to be lost and misguided.
Right.
And they're going to be out there in the world just committing all these different types of violent acts because they're acting out. That's what it is. They're acting out because they don't receive the proper attention and the proper lessons at home.
Right.
Because a lot of our parents are not able to do it. Some are actually willing and their intentions is good and they want to do it, but they have shortcomings of their own that they're trying to get rid of. And it resonates amongst the children. And the children, they go out and play. And the play that they go out and play is not the play that we thought that they would be having.
Right.
And before you know it, you know what I'm saying, we got babies dying. We got babies having babies. Nothing has changed, even from our era, God.
Right.
Nothing has changed.
Right.
When it comes to that.
What you think about the gays, man?
You know what? You know what, God? For real, it's crazy that you bring that up because I always tell people that I feel like every era has like a major thing that affects that era. There's many things that go on in every era that affects, you know, the people or whatever, but it's always like that major thing. Like when we was growing up, we grew up in the crack era.
Word.
You know what I'm saying? Like we seen that era. Like we seen the birth of that era.
Coke, crack.
You know what I'm saying? Crack. You know what I mean? That was like a big thing for us.
Peace.
Like as kids, that's what we seen. Some of us seen our parents go through it. We seen our uncles. Everybody had somebody in the family that went through that. And now, like I always say to people, it's like this era is seeing the gay era. And when I say the gay era, let me explain exactly what I mean.
Tell me, son.
What I mean is that when we were growing up, our era, we may have been in school, junior high school, elementary school, and actually noticed that, you know what, something ain't right with that guy, that kid right there.
You already.
You understand what I'm saying? But it wasn't all the way out in the forefront because it was something that I guess you could say wasn't acceptable for us back then. Like, if you said you was gay back then, it's like people would make fun of you, people would try to hurt you.
Yeah.
Anything could happen to you.
Word up.
And now, in this era of the youth and the whole gay movement,
It's the
everything like that, it's the total opposite.
Oh, man.
It's like people push that now. And my thoughts on that is, whatever you want to be is what you want to be. I don't care what you want to be. That's up to you. But
Peace.
at the end of the day, it still has an effect on other people.
Word.
So, I don't support the gay movement, but at the same time, I'm not going to knock somebody for what they do. That's what they do.
For real. Yep.
You know, so, but I won't say I'm a supporter of it.
Okay, what about this music, man? You know what I mean? It's hip hop.
Man.
I ain't hating, but that's what it's doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt.
For real. For real.
First of all, let me say this. As far as the music goes, like the whole music business and everything that's going on with that, as far as what I see, I think a lot of it is good for hip hop. For us, like a lot of the rappers today are able to make certain music kind of the way they want to, and be able to feed their families financially because there's a lot of money involved in it, and you can make a lot of money by being independent. You don't really have to have a major record deal. Like years ago when we was growing up, it was like people were like going in the studio, recording, and going to the record labels like, please listen to my demo, and trying to get a major record deal.
Peace.
But now, the artists that we have today and the rappers we have today, it's like people just using their own money and going to the studio, making CDs, and going out there selling them. Any type of deal that they need to be something like a distribution deal or something, but other than that, that's where music is at now.
Peace.
Now the effect on the music of the kids is where my problem comes in at, because the music that we listened to in our era had like a lot of substance to it. I'm not gonna say that we didn't have rappers back then that we didn't like all these lyrics, we didn't like that the same way we have some today. But back then it was like music just had just more substance to it. Okay. You know what I'm saying? When you think of like a lot of the old school rappers, Nas, who's still, you know what I mean, doing this thing or whatever, or Big Daddy Kane, Rakim, Kool G Rap,
oh, man.
you know what I'm saying, and all these type of different rappers. It's like when they rap, I mean, we did the same thing. We bobbed our head and we got live about it and all that, but we also like took something from it too.
Right.
Like we kind of felt it, like it actually like felt like they was really like telling our stories, and like they really lived the way we living, and we little young dudes just, you know, we living in the projects, so we living in areas that, you know, is not as, you know, how should I say, middle class as others or whatever like that, and people like to call it poverty. But at the end of the day, I think that's the problem with the music. Now it's like it's no substance to it. It's like you like the first thing you hear out of a rapper's mouth is based about like what they got, how much they got it, what they paid for, where they get it from, and all these type of things, and how many trips they took. And it's like the area that I was born and raised and I came in, and you can relate to this, God, is we couldn't relate to that music because we didn't know what that stuff was. We didn't have that stuff.
Hey, what about Rakim?
Rakim
never said bitch, never said nigga, but was rocking. Never talked about selling, but you already know. You know what I mean? That was peace right there, yo. That nigga, hey.
Yeah, Rakim woke a lot of people up, God. Rakim woke a lot of people up. I mean, the God came in and he just was like, I ain't no joke. I used to let the money, like he just
you already know, man.
And he had so much substance with it, and he was very diligent. He was like a rapper. You couldn't dupe him. You couldn't trick him. You couldn't.
That's just like Big Daddy Kane.
Big
nigga
Daddy Kane
was a gangster in suit with motherfucking chain shoes.
Right.
Yeah. Doing his thing.
And Big Daddy Kane, he repped for us, God. Remember the light-skinned dudes was in for rapping. No disrespect to the light-skinned dudes out there, but Big Daddy Kane through with the taste
Big
for chocolate.
Daddy, hell
and all of that. And then like, we started getting all the girls.
Yeah.
Big Daddy Kane
we was popping, son.
You
already know.
We was popping.
But now.
Right, it was just lyrics.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's funny you mentioned that too, God, because that's another thing. Like now, right? You got some people like, we used to have ciphers on a corner, and we'd just be rapping with no beat or nothing, and somebody may be doing the beatbox, or sometimes it just be you and your opponent, and y'all just spitting no beat or nothing. You know, now you got dudes, you go into the studio, you got to play the beat, You know what I'm saying? You gotta write something. You gotta get on the beat, and that was like your freestyle. That's like your freestyle now. But back when we was growing up, our freestyle was just standing outside, just rapping, just to the air, no beat or nothing, just, you know what I'm saying? Your name is Billy, your mama so silly, your grandmother love me, and all the dilly.
You already know.
That's how it was, and that was rap though. And we was feeling it, and we was like, yeah, that's like, we knew that we was in that one room shack or wherever we was living at. But at the end of the day, like, we was outside and we was having fun and we was rapping and we was just joking and just, that's what music does to us. That's our soul. Before we came over here to the shores of North America, man, we beat on pots, pans, we sang.
Where it come from, son?
You know, we come from the motherland. It comes from the motherland.
Tell them one more again, son.
From the motherland.
You already know. You already know.
You know, we very tribal people.
Peace.
So music is a good thing. That's what I'm saying. So it's never a bad thing. Just to close on what we talking about, like,
peace.
It's never a bad thing. It's just that I just wish the music of today had a little bit more substance to it. But I do love the fact that a lot of the artists today are more financially stable than the artists was back in our generation, growing up and everything like that, and they're able to feed their families. So that's a big plus, you know. But I'm all for it, man. You know, anything positive. You know what I mean? The boys could be doing anything else. You know what I'm saying? So it's a good thing. You know what I mean? But like I said, I just wish it had a little more substance. That's all.
Hey, what's the difference between them and us? You know what I mean? They are and ours.
Meaning music or just?
I mean, just anything. You know what I mean? Like back in the day when, you know what I mean?
Well,
we used to grind. It was more loyalty. You know what I mean?
Well, God, I think
a lot of trust.
I think the biggest thing from our era and the era of the youth today is technology.
Oh, they got that.
Like, I think technology has put a spin on our youth.
Peace.
Like, to me, that's the biggest things. I mean, it's a plethora of things that's different from our era than the era of the youth today.
Peace.
But I think technology is like one of the main things, because like when I was growing up, it's like we didn't have cell phones and computers to be able to get on the internet.
Not at all.
I since, hey man, honestly,
for real. Hey, you know something, to be honest with you, yo? Man, I used to remember numbers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know. The only number I know is my number, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna put, yeah, man.
Yeah.
But I only remember one number. But back then, man, remember how you used to remember them numbers?
Yeah.
Now you depend on the computer, man.
Yeah.
That shit right there is fucking your brain up. You know what I mean? It's fucking mine up, because I don't remember shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Them computers taking over, man.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
internet.
You depend on that. Come on, man. Your money.
But not only that, God, you know what I mean, to touch on that is when we got out of school when we was younger, and we got from middle school to like high school, when we got out of school, we would come home, and the first thing we would do, we wouldn't even wash our hands. So the first thing we would make our lunch. We'd make something to eat. Like, we come home from school, we hungry, make something to eat.
Peace.
And you know what we would do too that has been very, very undervalued is we would look forward to doing our homework. Like, we would be like, I'm gonna eat something real quick, do my homework, because why? Because we want to go outside. Our era was, we come home, get something to eat, do our homework, so we can go outside, because we know we get our homework checked before we go outside. Moms and dad want to know that we can do our homework.
Oh, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Peace.
The era of today, God. The era of today.
One more game.
It's because our youth are in trouble, God.
Peace.
Our youth come home from school. They not worried about no homework, God.
What they worry
They
about?
come home to the video games. They come home to Facebook. They come home to MySpace. They come home to all these things that's just used to brainwash our children.
Man.
Because when somebody is brainwashed, they're not focused.
Man.
Kids don't even want to come home and go outside. Kids want to come home and get on the internet and get on the computer. Kids are not even eating right now. If you tell your child, come upstairs and eat, okay, I'm coming, they down there on that computer or on that video game.
On that video game, son.
In our era, we didn't have to worry about video games too much, because Atari and ColecoVision cost a lot of money back then. If you had an Atari, especially if you had an Atari, God,
I'm staying over your house.
I was the one with the ColecoVision.
Man.
But my friend, he would have the Atari. But that's all we would have, and we wouldn't even have that, Nintendo or whatever. So we came home and we said we're gonna eat something, we're gonna do our homework, and we're gonna go outside and play. Not that was always the safe way to be. But when you have a youth that we have today that are so in tune to the internet world and video games, our cell phones, you allowed to have cell phones in school now as long as you turn them off. We didn't have cell phones, we had that thing go, we put our finger through there and we dialed the phone like that. So when we speak about this generation,
man, I got sent home many days with a beeper, son. At least like 2 times out a week, sometimes even 3. You taking my shit, I need my shit back.
Yeah.
Yeah, you remember that?
Yeah. Man, I'm telling you. So that's how we gotta look at it, man. Like, it's not even like the youth has intentionally decided at 11 to 12, 13 years old to be rebellious. But this is what they see every day. You see 10, 11-year-old kids with their headphones in their ears, with their iPhones playing and everything like that. And when you in school, you're not focused on really your work and what you got to do in school. You worry about how you can go home, get on Facebook, and do this, that, and the third, or whatever like that. And I think that's a major difference between, I think technology is just between our era and there, because the lies is always going to be the same.
Peace.
The lies is always going to be the same. And when I say lies, I'm addicted to that meaning as far as just anything you teach your children about their culture and about who they are, and refinement,
peace,
in every which way, and let them know about their ancestors. Just dig into their history and you raise them to be that way. There's still going to be lies that exist that at times will seem tantalizing to them.
Peace.
You understand? Like, a lot of those lies will seem tantalizing.